Welcome to this video on Python while statement. Also it is called while loop. In this subsection you will learn what is while loop or while statement, syntax and flow diagram of while statement, how to use while statement to solve problems and write Python programs, and what is infinite loop and when to use infinite loop, what is nested while statement, when to use while statement, and some example applications of while statement. So very first question is, what is while statement? So while is a control flow statement that allows code to be executed repeatedly until a given condition is true. Flowchart of while statement is given here. So initially we have to initialize a variable or a control variable. Then we have to check the condition. If condition is true, it executes the body of the while statement, and then the control variable which we have initialized over here is incremented, and again the condition is checked. If it is true, again the body is executed, variable is incremented. It goes on repetitively executing the body and incrementing the variable until this condition is true. And if condition is false, is come out from the loop and execute statements after the loop. For example, if you want to print 10 numbers, then here is a flowchart for printing 10 numbers. We start with initialization of variable I is equal to 0. So I is also referred to as a control variable because it controls the number of times loop is executed. Then we check a condition that I is less than or equal to 10 because we want to print numbers from 1 up to 10. So here I is 1 and hence 1 is less than 10, and hence it comes inside this loop, and here we print the value of I, that is 1, and then we increment the value of I. Right now I is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so now value of I becomes 2. Again we check the condition, 2 is less than 10, print value of I, that is 2, then again increment value of I, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3, 3 is assigned to I, now value of I is 3, again check the condition, 3 is less than 10, print 10, increment. So this way it will go until the value of I is 10, and if value of I becomes 11, the loop is terminated, and then if there are any statement after while statement, then the statements are executed, otherwise program execution is stopped. So here is a syntax of while statement. So it has a 4 unique components. The keyword while is a first component, condition expression is a second component, third component is colon. Colon indicates end of the condition and start of the block of statement, and fourth component is block of statement. So these are explained over here. Now let us say we want to write a program to print 10 numbers. We have already seen the algorithm. Let us write a program for printing the 10 numbers. Over here, very first thing is we have to get the value of n, that is how many numbers we want to print. Fine. So very first thing is, let us start with getting a number from keyboard. So this statement will read a number from keyboard and will assign value to n. So next is we have to take a control variable I, whose initial value should be I is equal to say 1. We have to compare the I is less than 10. So it should be in a while statement. So while I is less than or equal to 10, right, then within this while statement we are printing the value of I. So print value of I, and then after we are incrementing the value of I. So I is equal to I plus 1, and let us have one statement outside the while statement also, print goodbye. This is end of program, right? Now let us run it and let us try to understand how this program is executed. Let us enter a number, say 5. Then here we can see that now the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are printed, and after printing these numbers, right, 1 up to 5, there is a message that is goodbye. This program is ended. So how this program is executed? Initially value of I is 1, 1 is less than or equal to, right now we have entered value of n is equal to 5. So here the condition is checked like this, I is 1 and 1 is less than or equal to 5. As 1 is less than or equal to 5, it will go inside the loop and will print the value of I, that is 1, right? And now here the value is incremented. So I is equal to 1 plus 1, so that is 2. The next time again it will check the condition, and now the value of I is 2, so 2 is less than or equal to 5, hence print 2. So this way it will go on until the value of I becomes 5 less than 5. If the value of I becomes 6, then it will come out from the loop. So this is how the while loop work. Now let us write a program to find sum and average of. So we have to read n numbers from keyboard. So let us take this statement directly over here. So we read number of elements. So here we need to initialize a variable sum is equal to 0, and then we need a control variable I is equal to say 1, because we want to add numbers from 1 up to n. So we are initializing I is equal to 1, and then we have a while loop. In while loop we have a condition I is less than equal to the number of elements that we want to add. So here n, and that's end of the condition and start of the block, and here within the loop we have to add the number sum1 is equal to sum1 plus the I, and then we have to increment the variable I is equal to 1. So this will go on adding the numbers one by one from starting from 1 up to n, and it will go on incrementing this value. Finally, when the calculation of sum is over, that is when loop is completed, we have to find the average by dividing sum with the total number of elements, right? And then finally print the sum equal to sum1 average is equal to AVG. Now let us run this program. So here let us enter 5. So we can see that sum of first 5 numbers is 15 and average is 3, because 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now say for example we have a simple for loop print the hello world 5 times, right? So let us run this and we can see that this number is printed 5 times. Here we have 3 statements. The 3 statements can be written in one line like this. See, very first thing, the condition as it is, and then we have second line that is a print hello, and then third line that is I plus equals to 1. Right, so between this line and this line we can have a semicolon, and this way we can have all the 3 statements in one line. Now let us run this program and we are getting the same. Now let us see what is an infinite loop. So when a condition in a loop never resolves to false, the loop becomes an infinite loop. We should take care of infinite loop while using while loop. So whenever, say for example, here is a simple program, number is equal to 0 and number less than 5, then print n and increment this number. Means here we are printing numbers from 0 up to 4, right? So let us run it. So here we are getting, say for example, by mistake we have written a condition like this, number greater than or equal to 0. We can see that 0 is always greater than or equal to 0. Here we are incrementing, so 1, next time it will be 1, so 1 is greater than 0, again 2 is greater than 6. This condition will always be true. It will never become false, and hence there will be a infinite loop. Now let us run it and we can see that it is in infinite loop. So we can check that infinite loop in Jupyter Notebook. It shows star over here, means right now the program is under execution. So how can we stop it? So if it is a ID, then we can press Ctrl C on the Python shell. It will terminate the execution of the infinite loop. But as we are working in Jupyter Notebook, so over here in escape mode we have to press I key 2 times. So now we can see that it has come out from infinite loop. So we should take care that we are not making such mistakes, so that the program goes in infinite loop. So infinite loop is not always harmful. There are applications of infinite loop also. So we can use infinite loop in client server programming. The server needs to run continuously so that client program can communicate with the server whenever required. Also, infinite loops are useful in menu driven programs. So we need to keep the loop on and on until we want to perform different choice based operations. Whenever we select a option exit, that time only we should come out from the loop. There is a very nice feature of a while loop. So we can use else statement with while loop. The else statement will get executed when the loop ends. So even though the else statement is not commonly used, it is useful to know that it is a valid statement. So over here we have a program to print the numbers from 0 up to 5. So this is a initialization of number is equal to 0, then condition number less than or equal to 5, print the number, increment the number. After the block of statements of a while, there is a else keyword similar to if else, right? Here there is a else, then colon, and then one or more statements are there, and this is a statement outside the while statement. Now let us run it. So here we can see that the numbers 0 up to 5 are printed because the condition is less than or equal to 5. And now here else part we have a statement, the number is no longer less than 5, the number is no longer less than 5, same message. means the statement within else is always executed after execution of while statement. Fine. And then at the end we have statement end of the program, so that statement is also executed. So this is how while loop with else statement works. Next, nested while loop. So while loop within a while loop is called nested while loop, and syntax of nested while statement is like this: while, then condition, then again within the block of statements of while statement there is a again while statement, while condition 2, and then statements, and this statement is outside while statement. So this is how we can have. Before taking the example of nested while loop, let us see how the numbers are printed. So I is equal to 0, less than 5, print I and I plus 1. So here we can see that numbers are printed vertically, but we can print numbers row wise also. So here there is a AND option. AND is equal to single quote is used to append the space instead of default new line, so that the number will display in a row. So here we have a one space assigned to AND keyword, but here by default it will print every number in a new line. But if we have a AND is equal to one space, then it will keep one space between different numbers and will print all the numbers in a row. Now let us have an example of nested while loop. So here I is equal to 0, I is a control variable of outer while loop, and I less than 5. Then within this while loop we have again a while loop. J is equal to 0 is a control variable of inner while loop, and here condition is j less than or equal to 5, means it should take this j takes value from 0 to 5, and here we are printing the value of j and then incrementing the value of j, and then we have a print statement to print the elements in new line, and then we are incrementing the control variable of outer while loop. So here we can see the indentation of I. So both these statements print, so this complete block within the outer while loop, and these two statements are within the inner while loop. Now let us run it again, and we can see that here we are getting output 0 1 2 3 4 5, 0 1 2 3 4 5. So every line is printing 0 1 2. So here outer loop decide the number of rows to be printed. So here 0 up to 5 means 0 1 2 3 4, 0 up to 4, that is a 5 rows, right? And as the value of j varies from 0 to 5 and we are printing j, for every value of I this j is printed from 0 to 5, and that is why we have 0 to 5 output in a row 5 times. Now say for example if I print value I over here, right, I over here, and now let us see. So we can see that here we are getting value 0 first row, 1 in second row, 2 2 in third row, 3 3 in fourth row, and 4 4 in fifth row. The reason is now we are printing I, and when I is equal to 0, j varies from 0 to 5, but now we are printing I. So for all the values of j from 0 to 5, the value of I is 0, right? Again when I is incremented, I becomes 1. That time again it will go in this particular loop 6 times, because here j is equal to 0 to 5 is a 6 time, and hence this loop will iterate 6 times. So 1 is printed 6 times. Here it will come out from the loop, and again I is incremented. So now the value of I becomes 2, and 2 is less than 5. So here again the j takes value from 0 to 5, and here we are printing I, and now I is 2. So this way it will go on executing until I reaches 5 and value of j reaches 6. So that time it will come out from this. So this is how nested. Now the question is when to use while statement. So it is used in all those application scenarios where we want to execute block of code repetitively until a condition is satisfied, like this, whatever the example we have seen over here. Now some of the application examples of while statement are here. It is used for finding average of students' marks in subject, to find greatest common divisor of two numbers, to generate Fibonacci number sequence, to find a student with highest marks or percentage in class, to find all prime numbers between a given range, and there are number of examples of while statement where the while statement is very useful. So here we end this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great time.